Speaking of excited, we get to see Matthew Stafford this week.
Yeah,
He's not playing for the Lions, so that's sad. But
yeah,
I don't. This could be a bad game. I mean, just based on what I saw at the Bengals game, because I was there with my season tickets, and it was the worst purchase I've ever made. I've been to probably 15 Lions games in my life, and I think that was the worst.
Yeah.
It was the hardest one to watch. My expectations were low, but holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah. That was bad. That was the game I've been worrying was coming, though, because it's like, all right, the injuries are piling up, and I know these guys are motivated. I know they've bought into this coaching staff, but eventually you keep pounding the table and pounding your head against the wall. And they should have won last week. And you saw Dan Campbell crying in the press conference afterwards because they put it all out there and they still lost. And then it's like, one of those things is coming eventually where it's like it just nothing works and they kind of just die early is kind of where it was heading. It's unfortunate because I felt like they had a fighter's chance in that game. Just from their roster. I mean, because I don't think the Bengals are incredible, although they are 4-2. But yeah, I mean, they just didn't do anything right. They did nothing right.
Watching that game, like, I think it was 10-0 at halftime, and you still felt like there was something that could happen because the Lions have been a second half team, and I think it's been 4 straight games where I haven't scored a touchdown in the first half, which is an NFL record. It's really sad, but they've put things together typically in the second half, and technically they did. They put 11 points up in the fourth quarter in this game, got the 2-point conversion. But who cares? Like, the running game wasn't there. I think DeAndre Swift had 13 carries for like 24 yards, and he got the touchdown. Mm-hmm. But I think the longest run for the Lions that game was 9 yards. I think they averaged 2 yards a carry and 36 total rushing yards. Jared Goff missed everything, and I think he threw 4.5 yards per attempted pass, which is awful.
Terrible.
The blocking isn't there. So it's, again, like I was looking at PFF isn't like holy scripture or anything either, but you just watch these guys, and it's a bad offensive line, and it just got a crap ton worse with Frank Ragnow being out for the year. Evan Brown's actually been one of their best offensive linemen, even better than Sewell this year. So that's kind of just demoralizing. And with Goff, I think he's just sick of getting chased around. He took 1 sack last week, but I think he was hurried on pretty much every other snap.
He's been bad, though. I mean, even Dan Campbell kind of addressed it in the press.
He called him out, and Chris Carter got mad about him calling him out. But
but whatever. I mean, it's like, hey, eventually he's got to, he's doing a lot. He said he's doing a lot for us, and we appreciate everything he's doing for us. But he's got to be better than that.
He basically said he has to carry the load on his shoulders.
Yeah, it's got to be on him, and which is.
I don't actually hate. Chris Carter was mad about it because he specifically said Goff has to be better. He has to do more.
Yeah,
like that, and he did say that. But like, it's the same people that like cut out the Bible verse of "Judge not, lest you be judged." And like, okay, but what about the rest of it? Like, Chris Carter ignored the rest of what Dan Campbell said. Like, there's so much more to dissect there. And Dan Campbell openly said Goff is doing his best. Like, I'm not mad about that. He just has to do more.
He has to do more, and we need more out of him, is what he said. Because, I mean, and Jared Goff doesn't – it's not something Jared Goff doesn't know. And all he was doing is answering the question. And Dan Campbell is going to be as blatantly honest and open about it as any coach you'll ever see. So –
which is actually a breath of fresh air from the last one.
Exactly. And I don't think Goff is going to care about that at all. I don't think that's a problem. I just think it's just one of those things where I'm not sure. And we talked about this. Goff probably isn't going to be a guy who can do that, though. He needs weapons around him. He can be an efficient quarterback at times when he's got weapons to take pressure off him, but he doesn't have
wide receivers to trust. And
no wide receivers.
Hawkinson's getting double covered. So
Hawkinson's going to get covered. He missed Hawkinson on a wide open touchdown on the wheel this past week. So he's, and he's missing them when they're there because I just don't think he trusts anything that's going on. He's got a couple good backs, but they're both banged up. He's just got nothing in front of him. So, pretty bad team. And this week, I mean, we don't really need to dive too far into the X's and O's here. This is probably going to be similar, if not worse. So.
I think the Lions will have a little bit more fight, just with just the fire. Maybe Goff has a fire under his ass after something like saying like that, and obviously playing his old team. There might be something there where it just does trigger him a little bit to give it everything. I think Stafford's also going to do the same thing, though. So I think this is the first time where maybe the offense might show up a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think this is the first time all year where the Lions will score, 3 well-earned drive touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I think they get a field goal. So I think the Lions actually scored 24 points against a pretty good Rams defense. But that's only because they have a fire under the tip. Like, I just don't think any other.
Yeah, I think they'll have a good plan. I think they'll probably put up a fight at least for a while. But it wouldn't surprise me either if the Rams just come in there.
I have 38. I'm 38-24 is my pick. But
yeah.
I still feel like that's being nice. A 14-point game? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the game will ever really feel in doubt, though. I feel like it'll be pretty obvious the Rams are the better team.
I think it starts 14-3, the Rams, and I think they kind of
maybe 21-3 even. Maybe
Lions might get 14-10, and then it'll become 21-10 and 28-10.
Yeah.
And then they'll get a couple.
I kind of see how that game going. But yeah, I mean, it's just not. It's frustrating. It's annoying because the frustrating part is, like you said, this was a game where you felt like maybe they had a chance at home.
This was a game. Yeah. We didn't think it, but we thought it was a game.
We didn't think it was, but like I felt like, hey, maybe this is going to be a game at the end. But I think it's demoralizing losing the way they have this year. And that can be hard, for a team that's mostly young guys now too. That can be hard.
The defense just got burned out. Yeah. It was set. They were given that. RJ and I were just sitting at the game talking to each other, and we're like, "Wow, it is still 7-0, and it's like 2 minutes left before halftime." And then obviously the Bengals kicked a field goal with like a minute and a half left in the second.
But then you felt good about it. But it's like, man, the defense was on the field the entire game.
They're exhausted. Yeah, they're exhausted. Like the too many 3-and-outs with the Lions offense.
Yep, they just don't. It's just not they don't play really good complementary football. It's just frustrating to watch. It's going to continue this week probably, and they're going to struggle to find wins, especially if the injuries continue to pile up.
But it's got to serve as a constant reminder to anybody that went into this year expecting playoffs or expecting 6 wins.
There's a small section of like Lions Twitter and people who are like angry right now. Like, what? Stop it!
What are you mad for?
What are you angry about? Like, what did you expect? Like,
I sat there pouting at the game, but again, like I said, that was my least favorite game I've ever been to. But I went into the season with no expectations.
Well, that's the thing. Like, but you also want to see them play well on a game you go to. Like, you can be frustrated at that. That's fine. But like at the same time, like, stop. Like if you're like one of those people who are calling for Campbell's head now and like freaking out about this whole thing, it's not. Just stop. It was never going to work this year. It wasn't going to be a good team. You knew that. Just you're waiting for the NFL draft. Look forward to the NFL draft.
The difference between this game and like I went to the Ravens game and like I was mad about a miracle loss, by the way, like a loss that definitely doesn't happen ever.
Yep.
Like will never happen again like that ever. No one will ever kick a 6-6-yard field goal to win. And I was only mad for like 2 minutes because of how well the Lions hung in there with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Yep.
So it's like
this game, they're against a worse team. They didn't hold in there at all. They didn't give. Yeah.
I don't think the Bengals are a scrub team by any means, but I thought that was a game that maybe if the weapons matched up well enough, if we shut down just their trio wide receivers, I felt like things could have gone pretty well. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't. The defense hung in there, but the defense got exhausted because the offense didn't come up with a game plan to keep themselves on the field a little bit longer.
Yep. Yeah, and poor execution. If your quarterback doesn't execute, if your quarterback's completely off, which he was, I mean, you're not going to win. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they adjust coming up against the